Nintendo, Battlefield, and Ubisoft, and FF7R. So let's jump in first on the Bungie news. And the Bungie news is Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion, I believe was the reported number.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear, the only game Bungie is currently out right now that is of like they are still working on is Destiny 2. It's like the only game that's currently out by Bungie that they're still working on is Destiny. The other games that Bungie made were Destiny 1. They made the previous Halo series, which is kind of where Bungie took off, was Halo. So Bungie was first with Microsoft, then broke away from Microsoft and went to Activision, then broke off from Activision and is now bought by Sony. What a ride. What a ride.
They weren't ever like they weren't owned by Activision though. Activision was just publishing for them, right?
No, they weren't owned by Activision, but they had the
Yeah,
partnership publishing deal.
publishing deal. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So they were never owned by, Activision didn't own Bungie, but they had this publishing deal in place. And then they broke away from the publishing deal, and now they're being purchased by Sony for $3.6 billion, which it's a hefty sum for a game company, particularly one that's currently just has one game out, which is Destiny. All their other games are either in the past, or they don't really have like a massive portfolio of games currently that are out like right now, that
Destiny's
are relatively new.
Big though.
Yeah, Destiny's quite big. Destiny will always top out those Steam charts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time you look at Steam charts, Destiny's up there in the top 10. It's always up there. Particularly when an expansion hits, like Destiny's concurrent players on expansion hits are extremely high. And it's the newest expansion coming out for Destiny has like already 1 million pre-orders, which is a hefty number for an expansion. Yeah. So this is a popular game, and the price tag, you can maybe debate it, I guess, but Sony went in on somebody, and this is obviously not a response to the Activision thing, but I think I can speculate and say that it was a response to the Bethesda deal. That after the Bethesda deal, Sony was like, okay, we're going to go get somebody. And then this happened. And the time frame lines up, kind of. It kind of lines up.
Yeah.
So, Spoon, I know you don't play Destiny, but you used to a little bit.
Yeah, I played the first one and played the second one a little bit, but I never got super into it where I was grinding endgame or anything like that. I've never done any of the raids in either Destiny game, so.
But you've played. Bungie's a high profile developer at this point. Development studio. They're high profile. So, what are your thoughts on the acquisition?
I mean, I think it's a good one by Sony. Bungie has a pretty good reputation in general for making pretty quality games. I guess I know, well, Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, even at the start of both of those games, had its issues, but I think they've fixed most of the issues, and generally people like the game. And yeah, they always make really good shooting mechanics. Basically, Halo was the cream of the crop back in the day when it came out. Halo 1, 2, and 3 on Xbox and Xbox 360 were pretty much the peak of the shooter market at that time. That was before Call of Duty got really big.
Yep. Yeah, that was before then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Halo 3 came out even before Modern Warfare 1 came out, that's when Call of Duty got really big. So
yeah, it was close. Like the release timing was really
I think
close.
they were pretty close, but I think Halo it was out first.
Yeah.
From what I remember. I could be wrong about that.
That could line up. I mean, Halo 3 came out senior year of high school for me. Modern Warfare, we were playing it in college freshman year from what I remember. So the time frame kind of lines up.
Yeah. Modern Warfare 1 Yeah, Modern Warfare 1 came out senior year of high school.
Yeah, it lines up.
Came out in 2007.
Oh,
Yeah.
2007. Yep, that's right. So it's a roughly similar release date, I think, because that seems like when Halo 3 was out, like in the same year. Timing is similar. Um, but yeah, I mean, Bungie's really good at making shooter games.
Yes,
Their
they are.
their gun mechanics are really good.
Yep.
Um, I think that they've got, there are people that dive really heavily into Destiny's lore. I don't, but Try does. Try dives into that lore. There's like tons of lore in the game that people dive into. Not Destiny 1 necessarily, but Destiny 2's lore is actually like a little bit better packaged into the game as opposed to Destiny 1 where you had to like go all these other places to try and get it. Um so they like, and Bungie, even Halo had a lot of story around it. So Bungie does a pretty good job also with building a universe.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah, and
universes are expansive.
I'm gonna assume that Sony is not gonna have Bungie pull Destiny off of Xbox and off of PC and have it PlayStation exclusive. I think that would be a really poor decision on their part. I think that would piss people off big time.
Of course it would.
Uh,
I mean, but Microsoft may pull Call of Duty on off PlayStation at some point. Like when that contract goes up for multi-platform support, like
Maybe.
Microsoft might pull the plug, and that would be like an equivalent kind of decision. Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if Sony's
but
really concerned about that. Maybe like they agree, Bungie, like with the purchase, they had to agree with Bungie. Though I don't know how much control Bungie actually has in that, in saying, look, we got to keep this multi-platform. Like we can't be exclusive to PlayStation. We have to keep this multi-platform because that's where
yeah,
the value
but
is.
who knows where they're gonna go in the future with, maybe, if they're gonna do a Destiny 3 or some other game, maybe they're gonna have Bungie develop some new first party game for Sony that's a the PlayStation exclusive. Maybe PlayStation will get certain like content early, like they'll get the expansions like the DLC for Destiny early, or they'll get
Yep,
exclusive, some sort of exclusive content with like expansions and whatever
sure.
that you can only get on PlayStation. So
Which
they'll probably get that kind of stuff.
that would also make people very angry as well. So it's like I'm not sure what Sony's gonna do. Like we don't know what Sony's gonna do, but I think a realistic situation is Sony tells Bungie, okay, we'll give you money and we're gonna buy we'll acquire you, we'll pump some money into you, make another game, and we can make that a PlayStation exclusive or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like locking Destiny content behind certain consoles, in particular PlayStation, seems like a really poor decision. Um, so I hope it's not that.
Yeah.
That seems
Yeah,
like a
that probably
really the
that wouldn't go over well either.
the PC Destiny crowd is large.
Yeah.
So that group would be extremely unhappy. Obviously the Xbox group would be unhappy, but like the PC group is a really big group, as you can see by Steam charts. It's a big group.
Hmm.
So you're locking out a massive group from this content that just frankly shouldn't be locked out of. Like even expansion or release, that'd be a big deal. Because when you put it into the context of a raid, let's say The Witch King came out a week early for PlayStation players. That means PlayStation players have a week early to farm gear.
Yep.
And that means that they're better prepared for the day one raid. That would piss everybody off. That
Yep.
would be like mass protest kind of situation. So you can't do that. And I think Bungie's well aware you can't do that because you're gonna make people angry with that. But like exclusive like skins, okay, that's fine. Like who
Yes. Yeah,
cares?
like I was thinking more cosmetic on the
Right.
cosmetic side, but
That
we'll see
stuff,
what
like
they
who
do.
cares? Like whatever. Like I'm sure somebody would be angry with that, but like realistically that's better than like, oh, you get 2 days early on the expansion. Like even 2 days can be a big deal to people who are trying to do day one raid. Like you can't do that. That's a big no. Um for that kind of thing. Like it's just like I feel like everybody would be like, no, don't do that. It devalues the day one raid if you do that. Um so I don't know. For me, like it's a good purchase. Bungie's a good developer. Their games are good. Um Destiny 1 and 2 had the live service issue where the first like 6 months to a year of it were not
Kind of rough.
particularly good. But after a few expansions and content drops, it improved significantly, which I think is just the fundamental problem with live service games. But it seems like people like say, "Oh, we're gonna make a live service game and not have all the content that needs to be there
Yeah.
day one. We're gonna
It's
wait
just
like
like
6 months for it."
it's just lacking day one. And I guess some games are able to recover from it. Destiny is one of them
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
you know, wasn't great when it came out, either one or two, and they added some content and
Hmm.
people love it now.
Yeah,
So some live service games have been able to recover from a rough launch, though. I would say Destiny didn't necessarily have a rough launch in the fact
no,
that like the game always worked and was always fun to play. It was just a
correct,
little lacking in content
right,
when it came out, especially end game content.
right,
But people are always like, okay, this game is fun. It's not really buggy or anything
right.
like that. The mechanics are there. It just needs more content. And once they added more content, people were on board.
Yeah,
In contrast to something like Battlefield 2042, or Battlefield 5 last time, where the game is just kind of buggy and crap on release and doesn't have a lot of content, and
right.
then people are like, okay, this sucks. And
Yeah,
you know,
the foundation of Destiny was there. That's the best. That's the best thing. Like in contrast to a Marvel's Avengers, the foundation of that game was just not there at all. It was like it just was really rocky. But Destiny's foundation is there. It just needed
yeah,
more content to support the foundation, which is what it desperately needed. Um, and it got relatively quickly. I mean, like really 6 months getting like a significant DLC or something is that's like
yeah,
relatively
that's not
soon.
too bad. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
too
not
bad.
too bad. Like 3 to 6 months of getting a DLC is relatively good. So, um, and Destiny's DLCs have I don't know, like obviously not every DLC is gonna hit, but like they've had some really good ones that people are like, okay, this is
Hmm.
like a really good DLC. So, okay, any other thoughts on Bungie being bought by Sony?
I mean, I think as we said, it's a good pickup for Sony. We'll see if they, it's possible they have a couple others in the works right now that we haven't heard about. Because yeah, these deals usually take they're going to take months to finalize something like this, a big purchase. So
Yeah, it's
we'll
gonna take a
see.
bit. It's gonna take a bit, but that's a big one. We'll see who the next big one is. Like they're really like I don't know. I saw a couple of tweets saying there might be another one. There might be more before the end of the year, which seems crazy to think about. It's like okay, well who else is going to be doing stuff? But while Microsoft and Sony start to really, you know, bundle together their like these big publishers slash developer studios and really add value to their portfolio. Nintendo's busy taking down and copyright claiming people on YouTube.
Hmm.
um, a an extremely popular video game music channel on YouTube got 1,300 copyright claims from Nintendo
And then like another 2,000 the next day or
and got
something
another
like that.
2,000 next day. And that's the follow up tweet I have here. Received another 2,200 blocks today. And the person, just to go down the tweets, the summarized version of it is like, after some thought, it's just not worth keeping it up anymore and trying to fight this. I'm gonna delete the YouTube. And thank you for supporting me for 11 plus years. And the responses from people are just like, okay, so Nintendo, like, there's no alternate solution if you take down all of your music to be able to digest that content. There's no
Yep.
solution to that. So basically, your music, if you take down all your music from YouTube, where are we supposed to get it? Is the problem. Is like, where do we get it? Like, I know where I can get Mass Effect music. I can go to like YouTube and go to Mass Effect music, and it's there. And EA is not taking that down. Nobody's taking that down. But Nintendo is consistently taking down YouTube content in particular, and I actually just don't get why. And the only thing I can understand why is if they have a solution of their own and they're going to make you pay for it. That's why
Yeah,
you would take down the
that's
free option.
that's the only thing that would make any sense to me is
Mm-hmm.
if they have something in the works that they're gonna have some sort of subscription service where you can listen to Nintendo music or something like that. I don't know.
which would be
That's
awful.
the only thing that would make sense
Right.
because there is almost all Nintendo music there. You can't get them on any of the music apps.
Right.
Spotify,
Yep.
Apple, Amazon Music. They're not there. There's a few exceptions like Xenoblade. Xenoblade music's actually up on like Amazon Music and stuff, but that I'm not. It may be a situation where the composers like own the music or something, so they can do what they want with it. It's not necessarily Nintendo.
Yeah.
Um, but even in the cases with a lot of companies where they do have their music up for sale on these subscription service apps, they don't take them down from YouTube. They just let it be, and they let people listen to it
Because it
because
promotes your game.
it's free. It promotes
Promotes
the
your
game. It
game.
promotes the music. If someone, listens to the music on YouTube and really likes it, maybe they probably have a higher chance of going and purchasing the soundtrack,
Yeah.
right?
Really.
Like,
I,
um,
it's like the music promotes your game. Like if your game has a really excellent, OST, I can almost guarantee the probability of a not person who hasn't purchased it listening to that music, there's going to be a better chance they're going to want to pick it up or find the purchasable soundtrack, particularly if the soundtrack has additional there's additional stuff with it. Like I just like I never understand this from Nintendo. They're like,
I
no,
mean, yeah,
you
this
can't put our content up here. It's like,
they
okay,
they they did this with like those like emulator sites like
yep,
N64 emulators and stuff like that before the Nintendo Online came up with the Super Nintendo and
right,
the so that's my thought is they're prepping for their music to go up for sale somewhere, whether it be
right,
a subscription service or they're gonna put it up on the on like Apple and Spotify, for purchase on there, or they're gonna do their own thing with it. Who knows? But my guess is it's gonna go up for sale somewhere, probably in the next 6 months or so.
yeah,
Um,
that would line up with
that's the only way.
history.
If they just did this to do this to because they're Nintendo and they're anti-consumer and they hate you, then well, okay.
Like it makes sense. Like they went after emulators specifically because they wanted to have their own emulator. Um, be
Which they do a worse job
They do a much worse job. Oh
emulating
my god.
than yeah.
It's like
Anyways,
if you're gonna do that, do a better job. Like really, like if you're gonna be like that, you better do a really good job. If you're gonna forcibly take down other people's work like that, which they have the right to do that. But if you're
yeah.
gonna
I
do
mean that.
that, give a better solution. And they gave a shittier one.
Yeah,
Ugh. I just they,
yeah. You can't really say they did like anything. Like they're fully within their rights to do this.
they
Obviously,
are,
they own the music.
of
It,
course.
but the question that most people absolutely get is just like, why?
There's
Like,
no.
why would
It's a
you
waste
do
of
this?
time. It's a waste of
Yeah,
time and resources from Nintendo. It's just it makes no sense. Like other companies, like I really want to stress this. Microsoft and Sony are making all these moves specifically to increase their portfolios. Microsoft's doing it because they want to sell Game Pass to you and make that even more lucrative than before. Sony's doing their version because they want their, they don't have a Game Pass right now, really, but they want people to digest their stuff on a PlayStation. Like they're specifically trying to sell their console. Okay. Nintendo doesn't really do this. They don't really do these kinds of things. They have their own reliable first party offerings, and that's pretty much just carried them the entire time. And the other like only other good thing that Nintendo really does is they're definitely innovative in their systems. Like they try things.
yep.
Not always doesn't always work, but like the
That
Wii was a
they don't
really
always
like
work.
innovative idea, and the Switch is a really innovative idea
They
for a
they
console.
usually have some duds like in between
Yeah.
here and there. Like I think okay. The 3DS ended up being a really popular system, but it wasn't because of like the 3D.
No.
The 3D was a stupid gimmick
Yeah.
and was fucking pointless on that system.
It
Most
was.
people play with it off, like never use it. They just don't play with the 3D on.
But they
Like,
tried. They tried. They tried something. I
yep.
That's the only thing I
But
I
I think
appreciate from Nintendo.
that system was successful despite that. Um,
Yeah,
and there was the Wii, which was incredibly successful, but for a lot of it, a lot of people, I feel like, at least the more casual crowd, they bought a Wii, they played Wii Sports for like a week, and then it sat in a closet for 10 years and they never
but
used it again.
but
Like,
the Wii was like basically a family system, and
yeah,
the
no,
motion controls were like nobody was doing motion controls really like
no.
effectively. And like, the Wii wasn't perfect, but like really, when people actually got that and they were playing it, like families, like my family loved playing with the Wii, just like as like a fun kind of party system. Nintendo tries stuff. I appreciate
Yep.
Nintendo trying stuff for their systems. I appreciate that. Like they really do things that they're like obviously part of it is their own research. Like the Wii U, the research that they probably got from the Wii U was like, okay, that gamepad is really clunky, but maybe we can take that on the go and have like a sort of this
The,
hybrid of that
yeah,
and a DS
the
and
Wii
make it
U,
work.
the Wii U feels like it was like the prototype for the
Yeah,
Switch. It was like the bridge. It was the bridge
yeah,
between the home console and the Switch. It was like it was halfway there. It's like they had the gamepad, which allowed you to like someone else could use the TV and you could play the game on the gamepad.
yeah,
And then they came out with the Switch. It was like, well, the console just is the gamepad, and you just put it in the dock, and you can hook
right.
it up to the TV, or you could just take it and it becomes a portable system.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
somebody did market research and figured out that that is the optimal solution, the Switch, which it is. The Switch is great. Like really, I think the Switch, besides its the lack of
yeah, the hardware
hardware
capabilities.
capability for when you actually play the games, like the idea of it is fantastic.
Yep.
Um, I
And obviously, it's a portable system, so the hardware is limited. Like, there's
right,
only so much you can fit inside that little
true,
box to make it, first of all, like actually small enough to be portable. Second of all, like not too heavy, so it's like difficult to hold and play
correct,
when it's portable. And three, not heat up too much
right.
again when you're playing it portable. If it heats up too much, then it's going to be uncomfortable to hold in your hands because the system gets too hot. Like,
I which is what frustrates me because Nintendo tries things with their systems, but will never try anything for anything else. And that's what annoys me about Nintendo. Is like
yeah,
they don't take leaps on almost anything else. Like their online system is like from 2002.
it's horrible.
Which is like
Yeah,
scary to me.
they're they are consistently 15 to 20 years behind the times on a lot of things. The only thing that they're ahead of the times on or they're innovative on is, as you said, their hardware,
Yeah.
like mechanics. I don't know what to call them.
They're
Like,
just like the hardware capability, like not the
yeah,
capabilities are, but just like how you use it is they try these things. They're like, okay, like again, motion controls, and then with like the DS and 3DS, okay, we're gonna have people have like this touchpad on the handheld, and they're gonna do some of that. Like they try some shit, they do, and it's the ideas don't always work, but I appreciate them always trying it. But everywhere else, I'm just like Nintendo, you suck. You just kind of suck. They
and
really do kind of
their
suck.
their first party titles are, you know,
It just
really
carries
good.
them. It just
Yeah.
literally carries them.
And the other thing that I think they do really well with their first party titles is they don't rush them. They're not Call of Duty. We don't get a
Mm,
Zelda game or a Mario game every single year and it's like you get tired of it. It's like they take their time with them and they release one every couple of years at the most. But
right.
Zelda once every like 5 years
It's 5
usually for like
years. It's like 5 years
main.
for a
It takes a
Zelda.
long time. Like they take their time with their games and they make sure they're good and they innovate in like the gameplay. And like Mario, they could just do the same thing over and over again, but they don't. They come up with new ideas like Galaxy or Odyssey
Yeah,
or
no, they do that.
they in Mario, Super Mario in 3D World or whatever, it's the old course clear mechanics, but they add a little thing to it. They had the cat suit in that game, they have the multiplayer with the four different playable characters in that game. Like
Mm,
they are creative and innovative with their
first party. Yeah.
games. Yeah, their first party games, and they don't. they don't overuse them so that you get tired of them, like Call of Duty, where you have a yearly release and people are just like,
Right.
okay, this is the same thing over and over and over again. It was good for a while, but now we're sick of it and we want
Right.
something else. Like,
Yeah, no, the Nintendo first parties, generally speaking, are extremely like creative. Generally, they're extremely creative. But everywhere else, Nintendo's like, nope, take down the music, take down these emulators. We're gonna make our own, except it's gonna be terrible.
yep.
It's just like, okay, I just don't understand like who the person that's a creative lead for their first party games does an amazing job. The other people that are like doing the management of the emulator on the Switch, like I honestly think they
I,
just came into work high every day
I
and they're just like,
I
yeah,
mean,
sure, why not?
I feel like they're the creative people, the people who design the games and the systems, the game developers. Those people are great. The
Yeah,
corporate executives is just this bunch of 80-year-old Japanese men who are just so behind the times and like so traditionalist, and
right.
they just don't give a fuck. And there's like, how do we, oh, there's this internet thing, oh, people like listening to our music, how do we squeeze some more money out of
Yeah, how
people
can we
in
squeeze $1?
the
Yeah,
worst way possible?
how can we
Like,
squeeze
I
a
don't
dollar?
know.
Yeah,
Like,
it's yeah. Nintendo has a bad mentality in certain areas, and you're just like, Nintendo, you could be better about this, and people already like you because of your first party titles, but
yep.
you, I feel like you're coasting on your first party. You know, I feel like if there was a
Their
flop on some
PR,
of the first
yeah,
parties, like they would be in a lot of
their
trouble.
PR is horrible, and they're completely anti-consumer. Like,
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Um. Anyway, yeah, it's just crappy that this like YouTube channel that's been around for 11 years has to stop because Nintendo is like a baby, and they're probably gonna try and like sell some like Nintendo music collection for $50 to us, and it's gonna be like a terrible quality somehow.
yep.
Somehow they're gonna give us a shitty quality like collection of music, and it's just
Yeah,
gonna suck.
and you can only listen to it on the Switch. You can't do it on your PC.
You can't
So,
can't listen to a PC or
or
the
maybe
Switch.
they'll have us buy CDs. Maybe you can
Oh
buy
my
the
god,
CDs.
would you want? Do you want a CD of Mario music? It's like,
You want a CD? Our
no,
computers don't have CD drives anymore, Nintendo. Sorry to
Nintendo,
tell you that.
we can't do
Like,
that anymore. Like, I don't know what you want us to do. Um. Anyway, any other stuff before we move forward?
no.
Okay. Here was a Battlefield statement today, as in 2 days ago. We're sharing the latest Battlefield 2042 details. It's worth noting that this details thing came hours before an investor meeting. There was a investor meeting to talk about, probably the next quarter or something like that, quarterly earnings meeting or whatever. And this came out before that meeting. I just want to point that out. You've waited patiently to hear from us on what we're doing to address the issues with Battlefield 2042, specifically about direction for the months ahead. We're taking action on multiple fronts to address feedback and implement extensive fixes to the game. And after release of an update in March, which will include improvements to scoreboards, which, yeah, scoreboards suck somehow in this game, subsequent updates will prioritize work that will include voice communication and player profile, squad loop, including a refined ping system, improved reward loop, expanded tools, modes, and tweaks to player experience gains in Battlefield Portal. The other thing to keep in mind again is that Season 1 will come out in early summer. Season 1 was supposed to come out in March, I think, and it got pushed back a couple months into summer. They don't say when in summer, they say early summer. Including 4 new specialists, some new locations, and more content. So just to be clear, Battlefield came out in November, right? Or was it late? It was like November
Might
because
have been.
during
It
like
might have been. It might have been late August. It might have been like the last week of October, but I'm not sure. Like around there.
no, it
Yeah.
was November because Thanksgiving weekend was like the first Access weekend.
Oh, really? Okay, it was later then.
It was
Never
later
mind.
than that. It was
Like the end of
November.
November, end of November then. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
So keep this in mind. Like when Halo dropped in November, there's a season right away. Like as soon as you play it, there's a season. You just bam, you're in. Battlefield isn't going to have a season for what could be 7 months after release, which is a joke, by the way. That's like a joke. Your season 1 is 7 months after your release.
This game needed another 6 months to a year of development.
It did. And by the way, 7 months, nobody's going to be playing this game at that point. Nope. This game has like less than 6,000 concurrent players now, which is really bad for a game like this. It's horrible.
A multiplayer shooter, yeah.
Mm-hmm. A big name multiplayer shooter. That's really bad. So they have this like thing come out, and then there was an earnings call later that day talking about Battlefield, and they said they were disappointed in Battlefield sales. That's what they said. They were disappointed in the sales of Battlefield, but they have this roadmap now in place, and they could easily, reference this stupid picture. I'm inclined to believe that when season 1 of Battlefield starts, EA is going to be like, okay, well, we're not going to prioritize this. So whatever's in the pipeline, finish it up, and we're going to do other stuff. We're going to think about other things.
Start working on the next Battlefield, which will rush out the door again, and we'll have the same issue with, but okay.
Yeah, honestly, I think DICE should just stop for a while. I think DICE needs to overhaul.
They need to take a break.
I think DICE needs to overhaul. I mean, like, whoever's there, I think they just need to overhaul. Like, this is the third Battlefield game in a row, I feel like, that's had this issue, where it's released too early and in a really bad state, and nobody wants to play it. I just think DICE needs to overhaul. Like, they're clearly not doing a good job. Battlefront had the same issue. Battlefront, what happened? It released with terrible, these terrible loot boxes, and it also just like had problems on release. And this is what DICE does. And at some point, I'm actually surprised EA is not like looking at DICE going, "You're on the chopping block here. You're next. You better be careful." I wouldn't be surprised if when season 1 rolls out for this game, they're like, okay, we have like this light roadmap where we're going to keep the servers up, but no DLC is coming out. We're not going to come out with anything else. I just don't see EA giving a game like this a second thought when
nope.
They have other things that actually are going to be more, I would just say, more profitable. They acknowledge the sales of this game didn't go well. I'm guessing they're in like this scramble mode where they're like, well, how the frick do we recoup from this? This game, how do we come back? I don't know. I think this is one of those games where I think a year from now they're just not going to be supporting it. They're like, we'll keep the servers up, but we're not going to make content for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when will these companies learn their lesson, right? It's like when you rush out games and make shitty products, gamers don't like it, and they either don't buy it, or if they do, they stop playing it real quick, and they're not going to buy your DLC and whatever other garbage you have in there. Maybe you should spend a little more time and make a good game, and then maybe you'll actually make more money. I know it's hard for these companies because to spend more time, you're paying people to make the game and losing, like, you're not making any money on it in the process, but
yeah, I'm like trying to even think about a lot of these. My guess is a company like EA is like, okay, Battlefield 2042, we're going to start development here. And did Battlefield 2042 get delayed at all? I don't think it did.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So it didn't get delayed, but my guess is what happens is like, okay, well, we have Battlefield 2042 coming out before this before this, like, at the end of this, like, fiscal point, and here's what we expect from it. And we can't delay it because then it ruins, like, our, like, reports after the fact. It ruins the numbers after the fact. And, like, my guess is also, like, certain publishers, much like the movie industry, they kind of rely on this, like, big hit to support all their other garbage.
Yeah.
They have like one mega hit that supports garbage. In this case, maybe not garbage, but it might support like other projects, like a game like, let's say, Battlefield. If it came out to like this massive success, that can potentially support like 3 Star Wars games as an example. obviously maybe it wouldn't be Star Wars games, but like it gives like somebody like EA an incentive to support other areas because you made a bunch of profits. The problem is I think all those profits don't actually go towards other projects like that. I'm pretty sure all those profits just like go into somebody else's pocket as a bonus.
Yep.
Which sucks.
Probably.
But like that's how I would envision it. Is like you get like a massive hit, like a
they have their EA Sports, which
they have EA Sports. EA Sports funds a lot of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah, EA Sports funds a lot of stuff.
FIFA and Madden specifically.
Yeah, that funds a lot of things. But I think the main issue is like, well, if we delay this game, it messes up the earnings reports, and we can't have that. So just get it out. We'll figure it out later. And it's just like, okay, but
yeah, they're just really short-sighted.
It's like it would ruin your earnings if it came out like shit. So what do you want? Like I think you're kind of just like you're pinching a penny here, but at the same time you're just gonna like lose it in the future anyway because nobody's gonna want to play this garbage. So you might as well just like spend the extra money for the 6 months, let it come out in a better state than where the game actually works, and you might recoup what you had to spend extra to incur like a 6-month delay.
And you might earn some good faith with the gaming community because you actually released a good product.
Yeah, but EA doesn't really care about that.
I know they don't, but
EA doesn't care about that. Bungie cares about that, but EA doesn't. EA doesn't care about good faith, good favor. If they wanted good favor, they wouldn't have FIFA and Madden be the way they are.
Well, I think that's an entirely like they know that they don't need good faith on that one because the sports game community is just like that. Like,
but they just know they don't need good faith on anything. I think they just don't care. They're routinely notorious on all their titles. So at this point, they've thrown like the satisfaction out of the window. It's like, yeah, we're not going to satisfy anybody, we think, but you know what? We're gonna make our money. It's the same thing with like our next topic, like a Ubisoft. Ubisoft is weird right now. Ubisoft is one of those companies where they're going in on something that they shouldn't go in on, and they're stubbornly going in on it, and it's just going to blow up in their face, which is our next topic here. Okay, so the person in charge of the NFT project Quartz had an interview, okay, and said that the negative reaction was expected and explains that players just don't understand it. So it's actually your fault.
He's calling us all idiots. He's like, yeah, you're all idiots. You don't get it. You don't.
So it's our fault, okay? And here's the article. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's an interview. It's a long interview. If anybody wants to actually look at it on your own, I'm just going to put it in here. But there's a couple pieces of this interview which are interesting.
Can you scroll up for a second?
I want to
see what that guy that
he's just like it's probably a video like
that guy looks like those like generic pictures of like cavemen that they show. Yeah, he looks like one of those.
Oh, I see.
He looks like that guy.
I see.
Anyways,
so this is Nicholas Pollard. I don't know how to pronounce this. VP at Ubisoft Strategic Innovations Lab. Okay, so he's in charge of Quartz and Digits, the technology that's going to bring NFTs to games in Ubisoft. So, while it was a reaction we were expecting, we know it's not an easy concept to grasp, but Quartz is really just a first step that should lead to something bigger, something that will be more easily understood by our players. That's the way we think about it and why we'll keep experimenting. Okay? So I want to go back to a couple other parts of this.
Like that paragraph that excerpt that you just read from is literally word salad. He says nothing in that paragraph.
He says that we just don't get it and we're stupid. So that's
what
we
don't get it and we're stupid, and that the puzzle will be revealed. Well, okay, good for you, dumbass.
Well, let's talk about making sense of it. What do you think is the big positive that gamers are missing about the what NFTs like Digits can offer them? Okay. I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet, but that's actually true. And second, just a tool for speculation. But what we at Ubisoft are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them, or they're finished playing the game itself. Okay, so really, it's really for them. It's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. Okay, so once you're done with the item that you get, the NFT item, you can give it to you can resell it to somebody else.
That doesn't sound like an NFT then, the way you explain it to me. That's
it is, because you're reselling the digit spot that skin represents. So that skin represents like a database number 1157. You can use 1157 and then resell 1157 to somebody else. It is like it sounds like skin trading, like the skin trading market.
This is. I'm just gonna say, Blizzard tried this with Diablo 3. They tried the real money auction house, and people fucking hated it, so they took it down. Like,
so there's just like all these things in this interview, and the guys just completely deflecting what people have as problems for NFTs, and particularly in games NFTs. And he's like, no, you don't get it. We're actually doing this because it's better for you, and you're not seeing the end game.
Nope.
So here's another one. The most cynical feedback I've read from gamers has pointed to this all being a ploy to line Ubisoft pockets with more money, but you see it being about creating a deeper player engagement experience. Okay. This is one of those things where, like, you don't ask this to somebody like this. You don't ask this question because you know what the answer is going to be. They're never going to say that it's a ploy to line their pockets with more money.
They're never going to say
that.
They're not going to say that they're scam. Why would they admit that they're scamming you? Come on.
Like, they're never going to say that. So why would you ask this question?
So this is a scam, right?
They're not going to say that. It's like, you're not just doing this to make more money. It's like, no, they're never going to say that. Like, why would you ask this question? Yes, the model of play to earn is about allowing players to make their own money by adding value to the whole ecosystem. Oh my god. Okay. I'm just trying to find the other stuff that I saw in here. Okay. Do you guys see a future where players own the games themselves, that the games are an NFT? Okay. Nope. That's part of the use case we can explore, but it's not the focus today. So I don't get this idea. They're like, you own the game as an NFT. I don't get this idea. So there's a limited supply of games, let's say 1,000, and you own one of those. So
I'm good with what I have.
It's just like I don't get this concept. I mean, like, inherently, at some point there is going to be an endpoint of supply on, like, physical games. Like, you're not going to actually, like, create an infinite number of, Super Mario World games. Maybe you've made like 10 million. Okay, let's just say 10 million. And but digitally, like a digital game, I don't understand the concept of having a digital game be a finite supply. That seems stupid to me.
Makes no sense.
That seems really dumb. To be like, okay, there's a million of these games out there digitally, and let's say it's a really popular game too. Like, let's say it's Destiny 2. There's 1 million copies of Destiny 2 digitally out there, and if we hit that 1 million mark of Destiny, like, that's it. Nobody else can have this game. You have to buy it off somebody else. That seems like gross to me. Yep. I heard somebody thinking like, oh, that's an interesting concept. I don't like the concept at all. I think it's a bad concept. I think it's a really bad idea. So I would actually don't want to see that implemented.
How does that help? Like,
it helps nobody.
that's bad for everybody. Like that's bad for whoever's making the game if they have a finite number of them, and then it just goes to resale market. Like developers like they hate like back when physical games were a thing, and people would trade their games into GameStop, and GameStop would resell them. Like the developers and publishers hate that because they don't make any money off of
Right.
resale.
They
Like,
don't. But in this case, they will make money off the resale because they'll control the market for it. So they'll control the market, and we'll have to pay like a transaction fee to Ubisoft. So let's say you buy a game for me for $10. Well, you're actually buying. I'm getting $9, and Ubisoft gets $1. So actually, this is a great model for the game developer and publisher.
if that becomes the reality of the game industry, I will probably cease to be a gamer. Like
It's just like right now
that is cancer.
Right now, digital games are infinite. Okay, like theoretically, it's infinite, right? Like there's an infinite supply of Mass Effect 2 to download digitally.
You just download the files from the server.
Correct. Yeah, very simple idea. Good idea, because it means that the market doesn't get completely fucked at some point, where they're like, oh, digital supply of Mass Effect it has run its course, and we are no longer going to digitally provide it. However, we're going to open up this reseller market where you can sell your digital copy of the game. That just opens Pandora's box to me.
Yeah, that just sounds like cancer.
It sounds really bad. Like there's somebody out there that's like, this is a great idea. I can like actually like use this and make millions of dollars off of it. But to me, I don't like it. I think it benefits Ubisoft incredibly well because they're going to take a service fee off every transaction. Of course it makes sense for them. They're going to take like a 5% service fee or whatever. They're like, okay, you bought it for $1 million, we get 5%. And they don't have to do any work for that except be the middleman. So I don't like that idea. I just don't I don't like this idea too. It just continually really perpetuates, it promotes the problem that like skin sites had, which is you're like, it's a skin reseller market, and like we saw there were problems with that already. Why are we trying to bring this back in a different way? I don't like any part of this, is my opinion.
Yeah, I don't either. NFTs are, I mean, we don't need to get into the details, but NFTs are basically a scam, and you shouldn't be a part of it, because you're being scammed if you're a part of it.
It conceptually it feels really stupid to me, but there are people buying into it.
Unless you're the person who's like creating NFTs and selling NFTs, in which case you're the one scamming people, I'm sure it's very profitable. But other than that,
it's insanely profitable for that person, considering like people are spending millions of dollars purchasing them from people. It's insanely profitable for that person or that group, but everybody else is just like,
yeah. And a lot of these NFTs are just like, they're just stealing content from other people and putting it as a number in their database and be like, yep, that's our NFT, whatever.
It's so stupid. It's so
really
stupid.
Bad.
The last bit of Ubisoft is Hyperscape is shutting down. Hold back your tears.
No surprise.
Hold back your tears. Yeah.
How long did this exist? Like a year, a little more?
I think 2 years.
2 years.
I want to say 2 years. We can check. We can confirm this. Hyperscape release date. I want to say 2 years. July 12th, 2020. Almost a full 2 years.
Yeah, it's like a year and a half.
Yeah. Almost a full 2 years. Year and a half. Yeah. So this lasted almost, a year and a half. I mean, the game never took off. It's not Fortnite. I did hear that there were some interesting things in it, but the game had problems also with patches.
Ubisoft they took their shot at the battle royale. I think they were a little late to the party on this one. Yeah. Unfortunately, you already had Fortnite, which is exceptionally popular, and then you had Apex and Call of Duty, which also are taking their share of the market. And obviously, this game wasn't good enough or did anything interesting enough to take its own share. So
yeah, Ubisoft was desperate on this one too. They were practically paying people to play this at some point. There was a point where if you downloaded and played this, they give you $10 coupon. They were like practically paying you to play it. and people still didn't bite on
Please,
that. So
please
it's
just
bad.
play Hyperscape. We'll give you a $10 Ubi coupon.
And it's just like, yeah, it just didn't do anything enough, and it was too late. It's just too late. At this point, there's no point in doing BRs unless you're doing something so insanely different and interesting. But
yeah,
I just don't see that happening right now.
the market, the market is saturated. Stop.
Yeah, market settled. Market settled on 3, and I think that's good enough. It's like MOBAs right now. Market settled on about 2 for MOBAs.
Yep.
Battle Royales, we've got 3. I think that's going to be good enough for now. Now we just have to figure out if Blizzard can be the next survival giant. We got to figure out certain other genres. But yeah, not surprised by Hyperscape. Okay. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is planned for reveal this year, producer confirms. Did they even say when they were thinking the reveal would be? Did they give a time frame? Oh, they just said this year.
No, they just said hopefully this year. Basically, they said hopefully this year sometime.
Oh, okay.
Kind of it.
It's been 2 years almost.
It came out in April of 2020.
Okay. So it would make sense if the game released like maybe next year.
Well, yeah, and then they had the Integrate come out last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
In like June or something. So.
Integrate. Integrate. You mean the PS5 exclusive?
Everyone knew there was going to be a part 2 of this, and there's likely going to be a part 3 as well, because I don't think they'll get through the rest of the game in part 2. So yeah, I mean, makes sense. It's been a couple years since the game came out. They had a DLC. I'm sure they're working on it and have been working on it. So
yep.
Yeah.
So I obviously didn't finish the first remake. I don't know. I mean, like it would make sense if they had something this year to reveal, maybe during E3, and actually give like the releases next year. That would make sense, at least to me.
I agree.
Based on the timing. I'm more interested to hear about like Final Fantasy 16. I feel like we heard about that once and we got like a visual, like a trailer for it, and we'd never heard from it again. And I'm like, did Square Enix just turtle up on that one? It's like, nope.
Yeah, I feel like they revealed that game at like the end of 2020, and we really haven't really heard a peep about it since.
It's like, okay, we're turtling now. Goodbye.
It's kind of like what happened with Tales of Arise when they announced it initially. They announced it at like one of the E3s, and we didn't hear about it for like 2 years after that. Basically, it was like, okay,
they just turtled. They're like, okay, it's happening. Okay, now we're turtling for a while.
Yeah,
you'll hear about it when you'll hear about it. So I mean, yeah. FF7R was popular, so I'm sure the second one's going to be popular too. It's going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive. I think we can safely guarantee that, right? Which means
I didn't actually even think about that. That's likely.
That's likely. Assuming that PlayStation 5s, hopefully they become more readily available for people. I don't know how bad the shortage is still, but I mean, it seems like it's still bad, based on everything we've seen so far. So yeah, unless you're able to get a PlayStation 5 soon, Spoon, I don't see you being able to play it. I don't see why they would make this PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. I think they're just going to put it right on the PlayStation 5. They've got to sell the new system, right? I don't see them even trying for PlayStation 4.
They don't have any problem selling the new system. It's really hard to get, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's hard to get. No problem selling it, but I don't see them doing a PlayStation 4 version of it.
Yeah,
I don't.
I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I could see them just keeping it on PS4 because it's probably going to run on the same engine and be similar to the first one, so they'd kind of have the ability to have it on PS4. But sure. I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a PS5 exclusive as well. That would make sense. But
yeah, I predict E3. I predict they'll get something on E3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I predict. Okay, I have one more thing on here. I added this. Here's an update. Amazon's raising the fee of Prime subscription service by $20.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I know that.
that's substantial. That is substantial. It's also worth noting.
140.
It's also worth noting that Jeff Bezos' massive freaking yacht can't get through a bridge, so they're dismantling a historic bridge so that his dumb fucking yacht can get through it. They're not destroying it. They're dismantling it, and they're gonna have to put it back together. They're putting back together a historic bridge.
Where? Where is this?
Oh God, it was like oh God, let me find it again. It was Rotterdam. Dutch. It's a Rotterdam. Yep. So Rotterdam, the Dutch city of Rotterdam, sort of. Oh, they said they walked back earlier comments. The decision hasn't been made yet, but I saw this thing on Twitter, and it was that they're gonna dismantle a bridge for Jeff Bezos' massive yacht, and I'm just like, no, don't do that. Let him suffer.
Well, okay. Here's what I would say. If you want to pay me to dismantle, yeah, if you want to pay for us, if you want to pay all the workers and all the time it's going to take to dismantle and put that bridge so your yacht can go through it, sure, fine. But the city ain't footing the bill for that shit.
No, like, he'd be paying for it.
Fuck off.
Imagine. No, he'd be paying for it. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. It's not necessarily like specifically gaming, but you know, Twitch has Prime. Twitch Prime is bundled into Amazon Prime, and the subscription service going up by $20. I do think that's significant. It's not like Amazon that like slowly puts up your price $1 every year. It is a big price hike, and yeah, I'm obviously not a fan of it, but that's a big one as somebody who has Prime.
Yeah, same.
So
I mean,
get use out of it. Get your use out of it is what I'm gonna say.
I mean,